Lots of people spend lots of time thinking about new transport services in London. And whilst its population is growing, demand for public transport is falling. Transport for London loses £2 billion per annum, and central government spends £27 billion subsidising national railways. England provides free local buses to those over 66, and additionally Scotland provides free bus transport to children and those over 60. Also, there were write-offs of £12 billion scrapping HS2 extensions. About half of London's population has access to free transport in some form. There is no evidence that London gets more money per person than the rest of the country, but that is because transport costs are much higher in sparsely populated areas. According to the Institute of Financial Studies, we are spending £43 billion, roughly 3.8% of government spending, subsidising public transport, and government pays about half of all public transport costs excluding domestic air travel. Every transport project in London since 1977, except Heathrow Express, has lost money. It would be a lot better if people spent more time thinking about closing railways and stations, and this is what this video is mainly about. London's metro system is highly evolved, and its population is predicted to grow from 9 million to 9.5 million in the next 10 years. So it's not easy to find facilities to close, and perhaps you should view this as a bit of fun. These are the candidates for closure. The first four that we're going to look at interact with each other. First, we look at Marylebone Station. This is the Chiltern Railways network. If Marylebone surface station is to be closed, then it can be replaced by a new underground station at Marylebone and a new terminus close to Old Oak Common. These are much more attractive destinations. It would be better to terminate trains from Aylesbury at Finchley Road rather than Marylebone, but the issue is whether the Metropolitan Line and Jubilee Line could cope. Let us look at the capacity issue. Click on link 1 in the description. The Mayor's Transport Strategy 2018 shows these predictions of crowding at Finchley Road in 2041. In 2018, WFH was not a TLA. This 2041 scenario assumes that the West London Orbital Line passing Neasden is not implemented and ignores the real possibility of passengers from Aylesbury preferring Old Oak Common on the Elizabeth Line. The Metropolitan Line and Jubilee Line each offer capacity of about 15 million peak hour journeys per annum, and Chiltern Railways offer 1.3 million peak hour journeys, so the latter hardly registers. The loadings in this schematic are well below Tokyo-style loadings. At most times of day, Finchley Road could cope, but at peak times Marylebone might be needed. This is the proposal for the Chiltern Railway service in the 2030s. At Finchley Road, it would be possible to have a platform with the formation being just single track there to make room for this platform. The line from South Ruislip to Neasden would be operated as a shuttle service to a short platform south of the Metropolitan Line tracks. This would not make extra demands on the Jubilee line, as extra journeys from Sudbury would be offset by reduced journeys to Ruislip via Bond Street. Network Rail lists a Chiltern Railways terminus at Old Oak Common as a possibility in the 2030 to 2039 time frame. Click on link 2 in the description. This says, a Chiltern Line Extension to Old Oak Common Station has also been recognised as being desirable for the medium to longer term, years 11 to 20. New platforms at Greenford and Hanger Lane, adjacent to the Central Line, might be beneficial. It is noteworthy that both HS2 and Chiltern Railways would offer travel from Birmingham to Old Oak Common. This is the planned track layout at Old Oak Common. It is not clear why anyone would want to turn back Elizabeth Line trains at Old Oak Common, because this ties up valuable platform space while somebody walks through the train to close all the doors one by one. A much better arrangement would be to have these trains proceed to North Acton and either turn back there or take the Central Line branch to Ealing Broadway. But more on that in a future video. Another advantage of calling or terminating at North Acton is that it provides onward travel possibilities. Without turn back at Old Oak Common, there could be spare platforms for Chiltern Railways. We cannot leave this topic without criticising the design at Old Oak Common. Without the turn-back sidings, the whole station could have moved 300 metres westwards, freeing up land in the east for high-rise residential use and facilitating interchange with the Central Line and the Liberty Line. The trains on the Bakerloo line, shown in brown, are over 50 years old. The Elizabeth line has reduced demand for this service in the middle. There is no business case to replace the trains. I would do the following. On the northern end, I would divert trains north of South Kenton to Northwick Park, where there is room for platforms on the south side of the formation. The walk distance from Northwick Park to Kenton is 540 metres, so this would reduce the journey time from Harrow-on-the-Hill to Bakerloo line destinations by 8 minutes. The Bakerloo line would provide the quickest and easiest routes to Paddington and Euston, thereby relieving the Metropolitan line. I would close Edgware Road, Regent's Park and Charing Cross Bakerloo line only stations. I would close Marylebone Underground Station by providing a walking route, shown in green, from Marylebone Underground Station platforms to Baker Street. About 1,000 metres of new tunnel are needed. The western tunnel being the deepest. This would speed up journeys and reduce the Bakerloo line fleet from 36 to 29 trains, or even less with current loadings. New trains cost 100 million, 0.3 million per annum to maintain, and 0.3 million in staff and electricity. Station savings would be about 0.5 million per annum. 1.1 million is net present value of 30 million, yielding savings of 730 million. Probably a new gate line and lifts would be needed at the south end of Charing Cross Station. A 1% reduction in journey times brings an extra 1% of journeys, and this is an 8% increase in journeys from the north, yielding £3 million per annum. A net present value guesstimate of 75 million, justifying a project cost of well over £800 million. Click on link 2 in the description. The Dudding Hill branch is a railway line from Brent Cross and Cricklewood in the north to Old Oak Common in the south. It is shown in pink here. Passenger services on this line ceased in 1902. At the southern end, at Acton Wells Junction on Fridays from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m, 36 freight trains pass by. The West London Alliance have put forward a proposal to restore passenger services to this line, calling it the West London Orbital. I believe that the business case is poor and is further undermined by the proposals in this video for the Bakerloo line and Chiltern Railways. There are many problems for the West London Orbital, the four most significant being: it generates negligible net fare revenue. It effectively closes 3 level crossings. The walk to the Old Oak Common Elizabeth line platforms is 690 metres, 2 gate lines and 3 escalators. This would take 12 minutes. It conflicts with many freight train movements. The West London Alliance are assuming that the Dudding Hill line will be electrified, but the Network Rail Control Period 7 plan currently includes no plans for electrifying this line. Other videos on this channel will give a more detailed analysis of the West London Orbital line. The press believes that a go, no-go decision to develop this plan is imminent. I would say, when you're in a hole, stop digging. The station to be closed here is one that has not yet been built. Many Old Oak Common plans show a station on the Mildmay line, formerly the North London line, serving this transport hub, with an underpass going there. there is a lack of clarity as to whether this will ever proceed. The economic case for this station is extremely poor. The walk time is 11.5 minutes. There will have to be a bus link from Willesden Junction station, shown in the middle, to Old Oak Common station, having a walk distance of 200 metres at Old Oak Common and a bus transit time of 4 minutes. For a 5-minute interval service, a passenger from the south would find it 30 seconds longer to travel via Willesden Junction rather than the new station. What is the rationale for having a person standing at a station gate line rather than driving a bus? All passengers not alighting at this proposed station would suffer a 1-minute delay, as would all Bakerloo Line passengers to Old Oak Common, because of reduced frequency on the bus service. The Docklands Light Railway DLR contract is up for renewal and will cost about £290 million annually. I estimate fare revenue at about £145 million, and 50% recovery is slightly worse than the 60% recovery for TfL as a whole. Looking at the Docklands Light Railway from Stratford to Canning Town, it looks very much as if the planners saw what was possible and decided to do it ignoring land values and the effect on bus services. The DLR follows the old route of the North London line, and lobbying relating to this might have played a part. The problem to solve is how to serve Stratford International Station and its locale without using the DLR. The obvious solution is to extend half of Jubilee Line trains there. Stratford International DLR has 3.9 million taps per annum, and some of these will be premium customers on Kent HS1 services paying up to £40 for their fare. They deserve a convenient connection to Canary Wharf. An option would be to provide station exit at the eastern end of the HS1 station with a walking route of 260 metres, 6 minutes, to Stratford Station. Most customers would prefer this option to the existing DLR route. The DLR north of Canning Town would be closed. Taps at Stratford High Street, Abbey Road and Star Lane total £4 million per annum, being revenue of about £8 million. But most of these customers would find it just as convenient to use the bus or walk to another station, so that lost revenue is negligible. Operating costs would be reduced by conservatively £32 million. This route seems to be closed at weekends at present anyway. Local stations given a feeder service to the Elizabeth Line. The motivation for all this is to end up with a situation where the commonest calling pattern from Paddington on the Elizabeth Line is Old Oak Common, Ealing Broadway, Hayes and Harlington, and then all stations. The Greenford branch, shown in pink here, used to have a service running to Paddington. When this was cut back to West Ealing, usage halved. This is with 6 Elizabeth Line trains per hour calling at West Ealing, 12 trains per hour calling at Ealing Broadway. Many passengers from the Greenford branch travel to the District Line, but for the rest of these passengers the time penalty is minimal. The prize is that travel times are reduced by 2 minutes for all journeys on the Elizabeth line, stopping and non-stopping. At Ealing Broadway, a single platform is constructed under the raised car park construction. A passageway runs under the road to the Elizabeth line platforms. At West Ealing, it is necessary to rebuild the road bridge to make space for the extra track. The service to Hanwell uses an existing track to the road bridge here. And at this point, the Elizabeth line tracks have to be slewed over the central platform to make room for a bay platform. I hope you found these speculations interesting. Please like and share.